Sorry, I'm going to record this session starting now. All right, so if you want to get rid of a library that you had last year, you click the three dots and you say archive library. And then those books and those libraries will be added to this little drop down right here. So if I click on this drop down, it says archived. I can see all of my old libraries that I've archived. And if I wanted to, I could click on one and I could restore that library if I needed to. So nothing is ever lost forever unless you delete it forever. But if you just archive it, it's kind of stuck in that archive section. All right, we do have a new little tab over here to the right that says what's new. And if you click on that, it will take you to our website and it'll give you a little blog post about everything that's new in Book Creator. Now this is everything that's been new in like the last year. So you may not need to look at all of that, but at least it's there in case you need to see it. All right, the next tab over is our new Discover tab. And so if you click on the Discover tab, you're gonna see a lot of really cool resources in here. We've got some of our top books here at the top. These are books written by our Book Creator ambassadors. So digital citizenship, using emojis in the classroom, podcasting, igniting creativity, lots of wonderful books here. Definitely worth checking those out. If you continue to scroll down, we do have resources by grade level. All right, so these are sample books by grade level. So we've got kindergarten, click on elementary, we've got some elementary sample books, middle school, and high school. So after today, if you're looking at this and you're like, wow, Book Creator looks pretty cool, but I'm just not quite sure how to use it in the high school classroom, click on it, and then there are some sample books here that you can check out. And if you scroll down even further, we have more books by our Book Creator ambassadors on everything that you can think of. So science projects, math, 50 ways to use it in a classroom, high school classroom, elementary, formative assessment, social studies, right? Lots and lots of great resources there to check out. And then down at the bottom, our final section is sorting our resources by subject. So again, maybe you're a PE or health teacher and you're like, yeah, Book Creator's cool, but I just don't know what I'm gonna do. Click on here and you'll see lots of book samples that will help you out. So highly recommend checking those out. Then we have a tab called Learn. And if you click on the Learn tab, there are, this is kind of a little knowledge base area. So these are our most frequently asked questions or used things in Book Creator that you may want to know. So like, how do I do read to me, sharing books, app smashing, collaboration, using accessibility features. These are all articles on these different topics. So if you click on accessibility, for example, it will take you to our accessibility support articles, and you just click on one of these topics and it gives you step-by-step directions, videos, things like that to get you going. And then if you scroll down even further in the Learn section, we have our brand new Book Creator Certified Authors Program. And this is where I'm going to challenge you today. All right, so right now there are over 630 teachers in your district currently using Book Creator, which is fantastic. We have this new certification program called the Book Creator Certified Author. When you click on this button that says View Course, a new tab will appear here at the top of your screen. And if you click on the certification tab, you will be brought to our course, and you will see 14 videos that I've created showing you how to use Book Creator, followed by a quiz. Watch all 14 videos, take the quiz and pass, and then you get your certification badge. And it looks something like this. And what's really cool is that your district will be able to see in the admin console which teachers have completed the certification, right? And so here is my challenge. We had a school district the other day that wasn't even on our radar, right? It was just a district that was out there using Book Creator. It wasn't on our radar until we found that 250 teachers in the one district had already completed the certification program, which I thought was fantastic, right? And so your challenge as a district is to try to beat them and get past that 250. They're actually almost at 300 now. All right, so Deanna, if you logged in and the tabs across the top are just libraries and resources, you should be able to refresh your browser and it should work. If that doesn't, hit Command R and it'll do like a hard refresh of your browser, and that should bring up those tabs. If not, let me know and I'll have to reach out to our support team because I'm not real sure why that would be the case. Okay, so challenge, hopefully you guys are going to accept it. It takes about an hour to go through all of this, not a big deal. But again, maybe your district will use that to give you credit hours towards your license renewals or PD hours or things like that. So definitely worth checking out. Okay, great, Deanna, I'm glad the refresh worked. Perfect. Okay, back to the Learn tab here for a second. At the bottom of the Learn tab, we have even more resources. So I run weekly webinars with book creators, so almost every day, if not twice a day sometimes. The other day I had 6 webinars all back to back. So we do a lot of weekly webinars. So if you're interested in learning more about Book Creator, you can definitely attend these weekly webinars. All right, and then again, more resources by grade level. All right, so a lot of great things there that you can use. All right, let's get back to our library today. Okay, I'm going to invite you to join this library. So I'm going to click on this blue button that says invite code. Let me show you that again. This is how you're going to invite your students. So right here at the top in the center, there's an invite code. So if I click on that, I will get a code. Now this code is for you. All right, this is not for your students. This is just for you so that you can join my library. And I put that code into the chat window. All right, so once you get that code, you're going to go to your teacher dashboard, and you can do this now or you can do this later. It's totally up to you. If you're good at multitasking, you can do it now. If not, just sit tight and check it out later. But then you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom of your teacher dashboard, click that button that says join a library, and you're going to paste that code inside there. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to come into my library, and it'll allow you to see my books. All right, so that is very similar to what would happen with a student. I would allow them to join my library. If I have books in there already, they'll be able to see those books. If I don't have books, they'll be able to make their own books. All right, so once a student is in your library, they're going to click on this button that says New Book. And then they will be able to choose a book style. They've got the top 3 books are our standard books, and the bottom 3 are the comic books. Now, a lot of times students and teachers will look at the comics and say, I don't want to make a comic book, right? Because they have this idea of what a comic book looks like, and they don't want to make one. So they go to the top row and choose one of these books. But then about 15 pages into their book, they want to know where the stickers are, or where the comic panels are, or where the comic text is. It's not there because you chose a standard book. So for me personally, I always choose the bottom row. Always, for me, choose landscape comic because it gives me a little more page to work with. But that way, if you do want some of the comic features, they are there. And if you don't have to use them. All right, so you choose a book style, and then your students can make books in your library on their own. Another option is when they join your library, you have a book here that maybe you want them all to work on together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this share button at the bottom, and I'm going to say collaborate. And that will turn on collaboration for everybody in that library. All right, so by default, everybody who joins my library will be able to edit this book. If I don't want everybody to join on the same book, because that's frightening, I click this button that says change, and now I can choose which students can join that book. So if you don't want everybody, pick and choose which students want to join that book. All right, so in this case though, I'm going to say start collaboration, and now all of you can edit this book. So when you now click on in this book, all your names are going to start to pop up here, and I can see that we're all working on this same book together. All right, so basically, if you do want to do this and you want to play around as I'm demonstrating it, then just find a blank page inside this book and go ahead and we can start working. All right, so I'm going to start adding a few pages in here, and I'll start on page 15. So once you're in a book, there are really 2 important buttons for you and your students to know about. The plus button to the top right allows you to add content. The I button allows you to change that content. So if I click the plus button, I can do media, comics, or shapes. So I'm going to start with shapes, and I'm going to work my way up. So if I click on a shape, it gets added to my page. I can drag it around. I can grab the little blue dots and resize that shape. And with some of the shapes, most of them except for the line, the arrow, the triangle, and the star, I can double click inside that shape and I can add some text. From here, if I hit the inspector button, I can change the color of the shape. I can add a shadow, a border. If I add a border, a new option for border color shows up. Then I can change the border width. I can add some text settings. So if I click on text settings, I can change the font of the text. My favorite is Open Dyslexic, so a font for dyslexic students. I can change the color of the text, and I can change the size. All right, and so that is a shape that now has some text inside of it. Yes, so Mandy, great question. Can they work on different pages during a session? Yes, so if you turn on collaboration, kids can all work on the same page. They can work on different pages. They can work on it at the same time. They can work on it at different times. That book is just open. It's very similar to like a Google Docs style collaboration. All right, good question. So there's my shape. Now, I've seen teachers use shapes for graphic organizers, mind maps, timelines. Right now, I've seen a lot of teachers who are using shapes actually as a way to leave comments for students. So we don't have a Google style commenting feature, but we do have the ability to add shapes. So students, while they're writing on the page, teacher will take this comment box, leave some comments, and kind of shove them over here to the right. And once they are over here on the right, the student can see the work or the comments and make those changes. All right, Eric, I see that you're on my page there. I'm going to add a couple other pages here to the book. So if you want to grab a different page, that's fine. All right, so there is a way that you can add comments using your shapes. Yeah, some of us are working on the same page right now, right? It is very cool. So that's awesome. Yeah, excellent. That's exactly how collaboration can work. Now, my son's classroom, what they did, he was in 3rd grade last year, and what his teacher did was she went through a book, put the student names on each page, and then turned on collaboration and said, this is the page that you have to work on. All right, now, my son at the time, he was working on his page, and one of his friends jumped on his page, and I could see his friend like messing with his title page. And so, you know, big old bad protected dad, you know, got in there and was like, you know, dude, I work for Book Creator, stop messing with my son's work. Right, so, and I got him off the page. But collaboration works really, really cool. And I love the idea, Deanna, here of an interactive notebook tool. Absolutely. Your kids, right, they can be taking notes in here every day and just add a page to their book every day, every day, every day. And that way they have these wonderful notebooks throughout the whole year. So lots of cool ideas you can do with that. And I love the idea of collaborative notes because I might not be able to catch everything that happens, right, during a class period. And you might not be able to catch everything, but together we might get the whole lesson, right? So that's important. All right, plus button. Next column is media. So under the media category, there is a lot happening. The very first one is the import tab. All right, now under the import tab, the first option is Google Images. So if I type in something here in the Google image search, all right, I got all these dogs. I'll pick the one that I want. We'll go with this one. Once you click on an image, you'll see a little link here. It tells you where the image comes from. And then you hit select. And now that image will get added directly to your page. But what's really cool now is I can resize it, move it around, and rotate that image. All right, but I can also click the inspector button. Now I can hyperlink that image to a website. So when somebody's reading my book, they click on the image, it takes them to the website. Or I can hyperlink it to a specific page. So now when somebody clicks on the dog, it takes them to page 10. So I'm thinking visual table of contents. I'm thinking choose your own adventure stories, right? John went to the pet store. Did he want to buy the dog or the goldfish? If he buys a dog, click on it, takes you to page 10. If he buys a goldfish, click on the goldfish, takes you to page 7, right? So some really cool things you can do with hyperlinking. And then underneath that, we do have accessibility options. So you may have students who have visual impairments. And if you ask them to read a book and they click the play button, it will read the text, it will play the audio, it will play the video, but it'll just gloss over the images, unless you put something in the accessibility text. So if I put white fluffy dog on a deck, now when somebody with visual impairments clicks the play button, it will say image, white fluffy dog on a deck, right? So there's some really important things here in terms of accessibility. The other thing about images, they are all labeled as commercial reuse with modification. They are all labeled as non-attribution, and they are all Google safe search images. So these are the safest images that Google allows, and they are basically the most copyright free that you can find. Okay, so these are amazing, amazing images, great for younger kids. Sometimes the high school kids get into trouble with these, not because of the images, but mostly because they're like, well, I went out onto the regular Google and I found this picture of this dog, but when I go to Book Creator Google image search, I don't find it, right? And that's all because of the copyright laws, all right, and the way that the images are labeled. All right, so that's images. All right, next, if I hit the plus button, still under media, still under import. Under import, the next one is Google Maps. All right, and so with Google Maps, almost 100% of the time, you show kids Google Maps, the first thing they're gonna do is put in their address. All right, so there's my address. I zoom in, I can see my house, I hit select, and now I have a Google map added to my page. Now, I think this is a really good opportunity with Google Maps. I can resize it, make it fit my page, but this is a perfect time to go back to the shapes. So I can add an arrow here, and now I can point to it, right, and say John's house, John's wife's car. If I'm a math teacher, acute angles, 90-degree angles. Maybe I can estimate area and perimeter of this house. With the pen tool that I'm going to show you here in a few minutes, you can even draw over top of this map. And so maybe you could do directions or circle items, historical locations and places, things like that. So I really think that Google Maps is awesome, especially when you combine it with other things, right? Like the shapes. All right, Andrea says, when collaborating, is there a way to save what you put so it's not accidentally deleted? So Andrea, unfortunately, there is a way that you can lock elements on a page by two-finger clicking and then clicking a button that says lock, right? So if I two-finger click on this Google map and then click this button that says lock, that image will get locked on the page and other people can't move it. However, since it's a collaborative book, if the other people figured out how to two-finger click and lock, then they could two-finger click and unlock. So it's one of those like double-edged swords, right? Like we can lock it, but if we teach our kids to lock images, we've also taught them how to unlock images. So it's kind of a catch. Whoops, I don't know what I just did there. It's kind of a catch-22. Yeah, so again, Andrea, if you did interactive notes where you're putting in images and locking things, then that might certainly work. But then, like I said, just don't teach them how to unlock it, but there's also the good chance that they'll figure that out. So I just want you to be aware of it, right? I think collaboration is great, but we definitely have some limitations. We don't have a revision history like Google, so I just want you to be aware of those limitations. Now, those are things that we are actively working to fix, because we know that teachers want those features. So it wouldn't surprise me if we had those in the near future. They're just not there yet. Plus button, media, import. The next one is files. So with files, this is really awesome because I can pull in files from my computer, PDFs, documents, photos, video, audio, anything that I have on my computer, I can bring into a book. So for example, I'm going to click on this one here, Ammo Clean. This is a PDF of how you should wash your car, right? Like the correct products, the correct methods, the correct order that you wash your car. Some of you think I'm a complete nerd right now, and that's okay. So I can bring in a PDF, and it looks like this. And so what the students would then do is they would click on the PDF. It would open the PDF in a little pop-up window, and they could see the order and of what they need to do to clean their car, right? They can read the article, whatever it is that you put in there, and then they can make their learning on the page by writing their responses, sharing their knowledge, whatever you want. So this is how you would embed other content into your book, all right, that you might have on your computer already. If it's a photo or a video, it just jumps right in. So it's not going to be a pop-up. It's just going to be the photo or the video. All right. Next, plus button, media, still under import. We have a connection to Google Drive. So if you have files in Google Drive, you can bring those into your computer as well. Photos, video, audio, Google Slides, documents, spreadsheets, forms, whatever you have in Google, you can bring into your book. And then the last one here in this category is the embed feature. And the embed feature is definitely one of my favorites in this category. And the easiest way to show you this is to go to YouTube. All right, so if I go to YouTube and find a video that I want, all right, I'm gonna click on that. We'll go with this guy. All right, and then I'm gonna pause it real quick. All right, so here's the video. And then I click the share button underneath. So when I click the share button, to the left, there's a little button here that says embed. All right, and that embed button, when I click on that, it's gonna give me this code. And this code means absolutely nothing to me at all, okay? But I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna copy that code. I'm gonna go back to my book and I'm gonna paste that code right there in that box. Confirm the link. I'll see the video. I see the link. I see the title and I say add to book. And now check it out. That YouTube video is added directly into the book. And so when I click the play button, watch what's happened. Watch what happens. Oh, nothing, because I missed the play button. And my computer is fighting with me this morning. So hang on one second. There we go. All right, the video started automatically. No commercials at the beginning, no commercials at the end, no comments underneath, none of that sidebar over on the right-hand side, which is where kids get lost for days, right, looking at videos. So this is super, super important. So I love being able to embed those YouTube videos. All right, now, not only can you embed YouTube videos, you can embed YouTube, Vimeo, Soundtrap files, Desmos calculators, GeoGebra activities, Padlet, Flipgrid, Explain Everything, Powtoons, Google Poly, all of your Google Docs stuff. So anything that has an embed code, you can dump right into a page in Book Creator. So earlier, we were talking about students making collaborative notes. With your district account, you have unlimited libraries. So if you made a library for every student, now you have a way that you can add, students can add content that they've created in other things into books and make this digital portfolio. Demia, hopefully I said your name right there. Demia asks, can we add Bitmoji classrooms? So I know Bitmoji classrooms is like a huge, huge thing right now. And the answer is yes. If you can get an image of that Bitmoji classroom, you can bring a Bitmoji classroom in here. On a side note though, I have the Bitmoji extension up here to my top in Chrome. And so if I click on my Bitmoji extension and I find my Bitmojis, I can just click and drag a Bitmoji onto my page. And what's really awesome about this is as I click and drag that Bitmoji onto my page, there are no backgrounds, right, to that Bitmoji. So when I click on the Bitmoji and extend it, you can see here that there are no backgrounds behind it. So I could find my Bitmoji classroom background, right? Maybe I go to the plus button, go to media, go to import, and maybe I look for, instead of a Bitmoji classroom, I'm gonna go for a locker, right? So I'm gonna go for some clip art here. I'll go with this one, hit select, and now I've got my Bitmoji locker space, all right? And then I can click on my character, bring him to the front, and now we've got a Bitmoji locker. All right, so you can do all kinds of things with the Bitmojis, with clip art, with Google Images, lots of different options there. So yeah, great question. But in order to do that, you need to create your Bitmoji account first, download the Bitmoji extension, and then you can start dragging stuff in. I love the Bitmojis. That's like my new thing right now. It's like I use Bitmojis for all kinds of stuff. All right, next, plus button, media. We took care of everything under import. All right, the next option down is the camera. So if I click on the camera, I've got a couple of options. I can take a still picture. Wow, with the hair, yikes. Click to take a picture. All right, add that in there. And now I've got this wonderful picture. Same rules apply. I can resize it, I can rotate it, I can click the inspector, and I can add alternative text or hyperlink it to a website or a page. The next one under media and camera is to record a video. So if I click record video, it gives you a countdown, get out that last burp. Good morning, everybody. John Smith here. Hope you're having a great day. All right, we add that to the page, click use, and there it is. So there's my video. Now, what's really cool about video, I just love watching kids take videos of things to document their learning. I think it makes a lot of sense. One of my favorite activities, I had a group of kindergarten kids, and we were learning about numbers. And so instead of just telling the kids, draw a 5, right, or write a 5 or whatever, we would run around the school and find them, right? So like they would go around the school, take pictures of numbers that they saw all over the school, and then they would put those onto a page, and we'd write a book about it. I see a 5 on the drinking fountain. I see a 6 on the door. I see a 10 in the cafeteria. So we would do fun stuff like that. Same thing with video, right? Your kids can walk around, they can make a video, it's like, I'm at home and I see 90-degree angles right there, right? And so they could show their learning through video or photos. I think that's really awesome. Whoops, let me go back. Another thing you can do with videos, if you click on a video once, click the inspector, you can also add captions. So if I click on this, I can add captions in 120 different languages. Now it doesn't translate it, but if I speak English, English captions. If I speak French, French captions. Speak Spanish, Spanish captions. I have a school in North Carolina that has a very large Spanish population. And what they are doing is they are creating bilingual welcome packets in Book Creator for parents. And it's unbelievable what they're doing. So lots of great things that you can do with the 120 different languages. All right, so I click generate automatically. You do not have to watch the bouncing dots. You can just click the back button, continue to work in your book, and then eventually you'll see a little message down here that tells you that the captions are ready. All right, so while that's doing that, let me answer this question here. Is there a way to export the books to another format? So right now, we have a couple of different options. You can download the book as an EPUB, and I'll talk a little bit about this later. It's not overly useful because you have to have either Apple Books or Book Creator to read the EPUB file. You can also download it as a PDF, which is also not that great because when you download it as a PDF, you lose all the fun stuff, right? Like the videos. But then there's also the option to publish your books online. And so you will get a link, you send that link to people, and whoever has that link is able to read your books. That is my personal favorite because it's just a lot easier. All right, I'll show you those again in a little bit. All right, so now the audio is in here, and so when I click the play button, good morning everybody, John Smith here, hope you're having a great day. All right, there it is. You can see the captions right there on the video. If I get Lee, if I get a digital book, can I download it and add to it with AAC or captions? So are you talking about adding a digital book into Book Creator, or are you talking about downloading Book Creator and then adding captions? Adding a book into Book Creator and then adding captions? I don't know. I've never been asked that question. I'm going to say that I don't think so because really the only books that you can add into Book Creator are books that were made with Book Creator. But what you could do, and again, this is, I'm not going to get into a copyright discussion. You can certainly figure this out, but what you could do is you could take pictures of other books, put those into Book Creator, and then add your own videos, your own audio, your own text to kind of help with that. Okay, so that's pulling a book into Book Creator. Now, could I download my book and then put it somewhere else? Probably not. All right, Andrea, with Newton's libraries, you guys have 1,000 books and unlimited libraries. Okay, and then and are we limited number of books published? No. So you can always publish as many books as you want, and if you start running out of space, you can archive libraries, but those published books will still be available. And yes, Deanna, that's 1,000 books per teacher. Are the captions in another language added automatically, or the teacher has to translate them? No, they're added automatically as long as you speak the other language. So if I speak English, I'm not going to have translated captions. I will have English captions. But if I speak Spanish, I can have Spanish captions. French captions. Okay, so you just have to speak. You have to speak the language that you want to that you want to have captioned. Okay, awesome. Plus button. Media. The next one down is the pen tool. And the pen tool is one of my favorites. Sounds lame, but just wait till you see what we can do with the pen tool. So I click the black dot here. I can choose different colors for my pen. Personal favorites are these ones down here at the bottom called Magic Inks. So as I'm drawing with my Magic Ink, the colors are automatically changing, right? Which is super cool. Your kids will go bananas over this, I promise, right? They'll love it. All right. Then if I go to like a standard color here for a second, and I click the pen, we have a marker, a brush, a crayon, a highlighter, but then my favorite is auto. Because if you've ever asked a kid to draw, and if it's above about 5th or 6th grade, they will fight you on it. If they don't fight you on it, they will fight you on it when you say that they have to draw using a trackpad, because drawing with a trackpad stinks, right? It's the worst computer experience ever. So I'm going to demonstrate this by trying to make a bike. All right, now I'm already upset because my wheels kind of look like deformed potatoes. But as I'm drawing my bike, up at the top, the auto draw is trying to figure out what it is I'm drawing. Is it a tractor? No. Is it a toilet? No, it's not a toilet. Is it a drum set? Nope. Oh, it's a bike. So I look over here, I click on the bike that I want, and it fixes my drawing. Then I click this little X box. I can go back to my colors. So I choose some colors, maybe go to my fill bucket, and then I can fill in my magical bike. I can hit done, and now that image that I drew becomes an image that I can resize, move around the screen, and make it pop wheelies. Now, I have this side note here. I was in a webinar and I said pop wheelies the other day, and somebody was like, yo, you're really showing your age, John. And I was like, what are you talking about? Nobody pops wheelies anymore? And apparently they don't, unless you're in like you're 42, right? Because if you're 42, you pop wheelies. And if you're not 42, then you're not old, right? So apparently that's what old people say is popping wheelies. Nobody does that anymore. It's an 80s kids thing, so whatever. Anyway, there you go. So you can do some cool things with the auto draw. All right, let's look in here. Yeah, how cool is that, right? Mind blown. Can you flip the picture? You cannot flip the picture right now, unfortunately. That's definitely something I'll take to the team. I think that would be a nice bonus. So no more I can't draw, 100%. I'm a big fan of taking away student excuses, right? And I hate when kids come up with excuses. Oh, I can't draw, so I'm out. Well, guess what? Yes, you can. So now you're back in. All right, next thing, under the pen tool that I want to show you is the emoji section. Now, with emojis, I'm torn on emojis, right? Because I think they're fun, but I think they're fun in tweets. I think they're fun in text messages, but I don't know about using them educationally, right? Like, whatever. However, if you think about emojis a little bit differently, like I pull in the shark emoji and click on it. Now, instead of just that annoying little thing at the end of a text, I can use an emoji as a design element. So I've got writing on the page. Now I'm using emojis like clip art, as objects, as designs. Now it looks special. All right, so there you go. That's how you can use emojis as design elements. And then one last thing with emojis, and I was kind of embarrassed that I didn't know this, but I had a teacher who wrote to me and said, listen, my students love Book Creator, but we have a problem. They're making books about themselves. And I was like, okay. And she goes, but when you scroll down and you look at all of the emojis don't look anything like my children do. And I was kind of like, well, how is that even possible, right? Like on my phone, if I click on the hand, then a bunch of skin tones pop up and I can choose the one I want, right? How do we not have that in Book Creator, right? So I went and I yelled at my engineering team about it. And I was like, how do we only have one skin tone for emojis? And they said, nah, we don't. So if you click this hand to the top right, now we have different skin tones, right? And so I can click on the different skin tones and all of the emojis change to fit the skin tone. Okay, so I was like, okay, that's cool. I shared it with the teacher. her kids were super excited about it, right? They were ready to roll now, and they were pumped. So I love that option, but I love the Bitmoji option too, even better, because you can really make something that looks like you if you do the Bitmoji. So I like the Bitmoji. Okay, but that's a cool option as well. All right, yep, awesome. Next, plus button, media. The next one down is text. So with text, if I just type in some text here, I can bold, italicize, or underline it. If I highlight the text and click the link, I can hyperlink the text to a website or a page, just like we did with images. But my favorite button here is the microphone. Because again, my kids were filled with excuses, right? Well, Mr. Smith, we're not gonna write today for you. And I'm like, why? And they're like, because we can't write, we can't spell, we don't know how to type, we don't know where the keys are, blah, 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 right? They would just come up with all kinds of stuff. And I was like, well, guess what? That's okay. I said, because your teachers don't know how to write, spell, type, and they certainly don't know where the keyboards are because I watch them type all day long, right? The kids are like laughing about it. And I said, but guess what? You guys are really good at using your mouths, right? Because you talk all day long in class. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, so guess what? Click the microphone and you can write with your face. All right. And the kids are like, oh, what? And so this is our speech to text. Now, what's awesome about speech to text is when I click the microphone, a drop down will appear right here. So you can choose to do speech to text in 120 different languages. Now, it's obviously confused because I'm speaking English and it's trying to put it in Spanish. So I'm gonna hit stop. I'm gonna delete all of this and I'm gonna try this again, but I'm gonna speak in Spanish. ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? All right, and there we go. And now that drop down remembered that I wanted Spanish, and now when I speak Spanish, it does that, and it adds my text to the screen. Okay, super cool. I can go back in here and I can change this. All right, now the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to show you a new feature. All right, so if I click done, one of the options is clicking the inspector. I can change the size of the text. I can change left, center, right, justify, bold, italicize, underline, change the font, change the color, change the background, add some shadow. Okay, one of our new options though, if I put a lot of text in there and hit done, all right, I've got my text box here. All right, there's all my text. Okay, you can see it there. And again, I can click the inspector and I can change the size of the font a little bit, right? Make it fit the way I want. We just came out with this yesterday. Super exciting. Click on your text box, click the inspector. Now we have the ability to, oh, wait for it. I gotta let somebody in here. Here we go. Now we have the ability to add columns. So if I click on the columns button, I can do a single column. I could do a double column, triple column, or even more, right? So you'll have to just kind of play with the formatting a little bit, but there are ways that you can add columns. And so now we have a way to make like newsletters, magazines, newspaper articles, lots of different options there with the text. So definitely check those features out. All right, plus button, media. The last one under this category is the record button. And I absolutely love the record button because it gives your a chance for your students to have a voice in their books. So student has writing on the page, they can now click the record button, gives them that countdown. One day, there was an old man sitting under a tree. He was waiting for somebody to stop by and say hi. While he was waiting, a dog walked up to him and started barking. So I hit stop, use recording, and now I have a play button. All right, so I can make that as big or small as I want, but I've text on the page, and then I have the student's own voice reading their text. That is way more powerful than clicking the play button and having some robot read that page to me, right? So I love the audio buttons. Reading fluency, read your page to you. Teacher feedback, teachers can leave feedback using audio buttons. That way you don't have to type anything. Sound effects, music, maybe your kids want to play some music in the background. Love the audio record button, and I definitely want your kids to go to check this out. Yes, my students use this all the time to read their own writing. Awesome. That's what I love to hear. All right, so again, because it's going to help their speech, it's going to help their communication, it's going to help their reading fluency if they keep practicing and recording their voices. I had a student fifth grader who came in one day at recess, because I made him come in at recess. Now, I don't do that very often, right? Like I was like, I don't like taking recess away from kids. But this kid, he came in one day for recess because he really struggled with reading. He was on a pre-primer reading level as a fifth grader. And I made him do this kind of activity where I took pictures of a book. I made him read his own writing, that kind of stuff, and record it. The kid was so excited about it that he came in every day for recess after that, like on his own. Like he didn't want to go out to recess. He wanted to come in and read books. And I was like, all right, dude, whatever. You know, like, so he came in, went from a pre-primer reading level to an upper first grade reading level in like 2 months because he was so just engrossed in listening to himself read and trying to make himself better. So I think it's really awesome. Deanna, I love it. Students use it to explain how they solve problems. Absolutely. So one of my favorite teacher excuses, right, is I don't know how he got the answer. Mark it wrong, right? And we just kind of, sometimes we throw our hands up in the air and just like, well, I got it wrong. Well, now with that record button, we can actually listen and hear that child's thought process. We can ask them to verbalize it. So now we have a better understanding of why kids are getting things wrong. So I love the record button. All right, plus button. Comics is our next section. So with comics, you can choose panels. We've got some different panel styles. So you choose one. Now to get an image inside the panel, you do not click the plus button and add photos, because then it's just gonna be a weird rectangle on top of a bigger weird rectangle. You don't wanna do that. So what you're gonna do is click in the panel, click the book or the mountain option over here on the left. Now I can do a Google image search. I can pull an image from my files or my drive. Click on the dog, hit select, and that dog image will get added right inside the panel, and it fits nicely inside. If you don't like it, you can click the arrow and move things around, resize it if you need. And then you can also click in there and click the camera and take a picture right there from your camera. All right, hit use picture, and it gets dumped in there as well. From here, I click the plus button. I can add some speech bubbles. Oops. I can add some thought bubbles. I can add some text. So we've got some comic text options here. I love the caption box. Speaking of dogs, I hear my dog barking outside. It usually means trouble. All right, there we go. I can click the plus button. I can add some stickers. We have 2 columns of stickers that are pre-made. And then we have a column of stickers that is blank. And so you can add a blank sticker to the page. Now you cannot click inside the sticker and add more text to it, but what you can do is you can add a text box on top. Now I've got a sticker that I've created. From here, if I click this white outside edge, I can choose a comic background behind my text or behind my panels, which is really cool. So now you can see it's really coming together, looking like a comic. All right, ooh, Lee, good stuff there. Was it Lee or Leslie? I think it was Leslie. Actually, let me go back and check before I said the wrong thing. There, Leslie, nice. All right, I'm gonna go to a blank page. If I click anywhere on this white blank area and click the inspector, same things. I can do the background this way. If I scroll down, I have a whole bunch of different colors. If you don't like our colors, click the plus button and make your own. We also have different paper styles. So we have graph paper, small graph paper so tiny nobody's gonna use it. We've got line paper, college ruled, kindergarten paper, the dot game you play when you're bored at PD, the dot game you play when it's an all-day PD, and music paper. All right, maybe that dot game's a 42-year-old thing too. I don't know. Borders. We've got different borders you can choose from. We've got different patterns you can choose from. And we have different textures. My daughter calls this one unicorn paper. So we've got unicorn paper, marble, chalkboard, and shiplap. Just be careful when you say shiplap, because no matter how many times you say ship and you really enunciate, kids will think you said something different. So just be careful with that, and maybe just avoid that one altogether. All right, but we got some really cool paper options. So those are all of the features inside of Book Creator. If I click on this Pages view, I can see all of the work that's being done in this book, all right, which is awesome. Now, just be cautious that this page view does not update 100% in real time. So if I'm looking at page 4, I'm thinking these are a bunch of delinquents. and they're not doing any work, right? But if I click on page 4, I can see that they are a bunch of delinquents and they haven't done any work. So that's okay. Sometimes there is work there. So you just got to be cautious with grading this. You definitely want to look at it, click on the page and see what has been made. Okay? Awesome. Also from Pages View, I can click and drag and move pages around. Some of you are upset now because you're on a different page than you were. All right, so you can move things around. If you click the 3 dots, you can make a copy of that page. So if I say copy, it makes an exact replica. I can also copy the page to. Now this is a new feature. You can copy this one page and choose another library and another book and hit copy, and it will take that page and dump it at the end of that other book. All right, that's really awesome. You can also hit select, and you can click multiple pages and copy multiple pages to another book, or you can delete multiple pages. All right, so some pretty cool options there. You can also hit the dots, move your page to another place. This really works well if you have like a book that's really long. You can just say, I want to move this page to the end, and hit move, and now it gets dumped at the very end of the book where you told it to go to, all right, which is really cool. And then we can also insert a page, which just puts a blank page before it, or you can delete the page, right, if you no longer want that page. Demia, don't worry, yours is down there at the bottom. All right, I'll put you back up here at the top where you were. Okay, cool. So there's a lot of different options there. Now let me back out. We're running out of time here, so let me go through this real quick. Underneath a book, there's a book icon. I can import a book from another place. I can move, now if it was made with Book Creator, I can move my book from one library to another. I can make an exact copy of the book. This is what you're going to want your students to do if you make templates for your students. So if I make a template like this book right here, this is a template, this is a template, this is a template, and those are all available for you to play with. So if I want to make a copy of a book, I click this and say copy book. So a student would copy this book, choose the same library that they're currently in, and then when it copies that book, it will make a copy with that kid's name so that student can edit that copy, but not your original. All right, so this one is our Big Book Creator activity book. If you haven't checked this out, there's like 60 activities in here for students to complete. It's really just kind of fun, but it gives you an idea of what you could do by making templates for your kids. This is a getting to know you template that you can make a copy of and edit, and this is a yearbook template that you could copy and edit. All right. Also, you can combine books. So if you've got 35 kids, they've all made a book inside your library, combine, you click in the order that you want, hit next, give it a title, and it takes all of those books and sucks them together into one neat book, which is fantastic. Underneath the middle, there's the share button, publish online, click it once. I have a title, I have an author, click it again, that book is published and it's now online. So anybody that gets this link will be able to view it. It's not viewable on Google, you're not gonna be able to search it, that kind of stuff. It's only to the people who have the link. You can edit a book while it's published and all of the edits will automatically appear, which is really cool. And if you don't want to, you can stop publishing, all right, and get rid of it. This is also where you're gonna turn on or off collaboration, download your book as an ebook, or print your book out. So again, it downloads it as a PDF and allows you to print it. All right, let's see here. We got, can we push out a template to copy to each student? Not right now, Mandy. So your students will have to join your library and make a copy. I say that and then I'm gonna take it back. You could, but it's really an ugly process, and here's how it would work. You would make a copy, you'd have to turn on collaboration and turn it on for only that student. So totally up to you on how you wanna do that. Right now, we don't have any pre-made templates other than the Book Creator activity book and this yearbook. And then because you're part of this library, you now also have this getting to know you template. That is something that we are working on though. So we are planning on having some pre-made templates, I would say in the next month, right? So I think is when it's gonna come out. Don't hold me to that. All right, some pretty cool options. And the last thing I wanna go over real quickly is the setting icon here at the top. You can turn on or off all of these features. Turn on or off image search, students editing their own books, students reading each other's books, students turning on collaboration by themselves, and students publishing by themselves. And you can also archive a library or publish an entire library. So if you don't want to publish 35 individual books, you can publish one library, and that link will allow anybody with that link to view every book that's in that library. All right, so some pretty cool options. Okay, woo, that hour went really fast. All right, so that is all I have to share with you on Book Creator. So hopefully you have some ideas that kind of rolling through your head. So if you could, in the chat window, just let me know some of your ideas. I'll also stick around for a couple of minutes to answer some questions if you have any. But I'm sure you either have lunch break now or other sessions to go to. I'm not real sure. But I just want to say thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate your time. Right now, there's like 600 and something teachers in your district using Book Creator. I'd love to see that number grow to over 1,000 by the end of the year. So let's see if we can really smash it this year in Newton, and let's get all of you Book Creator certified. Let's just do this, right? Interactive science notebooks, love it. You're welcome, everybody. Social emotional learning books. Yes, you're a counselor. My wife's a counselor too, Demia. And so, yeah, we talk about that kind of stuff too. At the high school level, you could do course guides in Book Creator. So instead of a PDF with all the courses and what the description is, you could have a book with the courses, a video of the teacher teaching a lesson, a sample lesson, the teacher saying hi. Like, I think it'd be really, really cool. All right. Yes, thank you, Ashley. Great session. Thank you, everyone. Getting to know you book would be awesome. Interactive science books. Yep. Came up with is do a book on letter recognition for my kindergarten kids. Absolutely. My daughter, kindergarten student last year, hated sight words. Hated them, right? Like, you couldn't get her to do any sight words until I put them into Book Creator and had her read the word, and then she made a recording of it at the top. And so when she would come in, she would practice. She'd read the word, self-check, read it again, and then she would drag the letters and spell the words, turned into a reading machine in a couple of months because she loved doing that. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. Nina, interactive ELA notebooks. Yep, great. Fantastic ideas. Awesome. All right, well, I don't want to hold you too, for the Get to Know You page there on the right, could we make a classroom book where you take that page, send it to the book in your library where you collaborate with each kid? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so you would just take that page, Andrea, make 30 copies of it once it's inside of a book, put a kid's name on it, and let them edit that page. Yep, 100%. All right, well, I'm going to stop sharing. I want to thank everybody again for being here. Be safe out there. It's still a strange world. So just be safe. Happy bookmaking. And again, I'll stick around for about another 2 minutes if you have any questions. If you're tired of looking at my mug, then peace out. Have a great day and be safe. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.